Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us. We're surrounded by history, but it's not only in the form of the statues, but I'm now joined by the descendant of King David Stuurman. Khoi Stuurman, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Morning, thank you for having me.
What does it feel like to walk through this lawn and see statues of heroes of old, and one of them, a close relative of yours, perhaps a couple of greats away, but someone who's very, very close to your heart?
I'm very humbled, honored as a family. I'm speaking on behalf of the family. We are in the process right now, currently trying to bring his remains that were buried in Australia, in the Eastern Cape. That's where we're coming from. I must say he was a man who had 7 wives, and then I'm one of the descendants coming from the family. But what I want to like to correct is that our origin is from the Matoti origin. It's not right to say he came from vacuum. He was born from the Matoti origin, which is a Ngcuba clan, and then but the Matoti married a Khoi woman, which resided within the Zierveld area, which is now we are talking about the Persia Ngcuba, that's where the borderline you cross between the Ngcuba people, which was intermarriage, kind of a relationship between the Khoi people as well as the Xhosa people. So that stretches the land between Port Alfred to the Tsitsikamma area, where he was fighting and resisting the anti-colonial regime. Yeah.
Do you think that that's a piece of history that should be broadcast more, that should come to the fore more often than not?
It is very much important because the land itself, which we were removed from, and the chieftainship that was removed, we no longer have the chieftainship from the Stuurman clan. Those are quite important things. And then also the fact that he fought and resisted is amongst the very first people who escaped in Robben Island twice. No one in the history has ever escaped in Robben Island. But the third time around, when they captured him, they took him to Australia. That is where he was orchestrated. Now that is a very deep history, and of which something that needs to be told and people be aware of. That this is one of the people who fought together with the likes of Ngcele, because when Ngcele he couldn't make it on the shore when they were trying to escape in Robben Island, he was with David Stuurman. And he was fighting together with the kings like Onkambe from the Chawe clan, which were the kings of Xhosas. He fought amongst the other kings, Oyinta, the Khakhabes, and the likes. So they were very quite close. And in that time, it was strictly let's all unite and fight against, because we can't afford our land to be taken away from the white people.
You sound like a wealth of knowledge on these matters. How else, other than honoring these giants in the form of statues, how else do we pass on that information from generations to come? You've already missed a generation in me, because this is all very new that you're telling me, but how do we make sure that my children, the children after them, be able to retain some of that knowledge?
I think the proper landscape, especially like in the Eastern Cape, we need to have monuments acknowledging the people who have fought, the likes of Ngcele, Nkambe, Ntsika, Yinsa, Stuurman, of course, because those are the landscape within the Eastern Cape area. For example, now we are in a land which was used to call a no man's land, Ngushwa in Eastern Cape. That land, it was a land that was strictly a war zone. No one was supposed to be living in that area. The Grahamstown area was a portion of it was part of the land that they were fighting. But we were moved from as south to the likes of Knysna and post towards Ngushwa Pedi area, which was a no man's land. So those proper landscape, they need to be documented and reflected within our history, so that people, they know as to where we come from, how did we come about to move from these areas and we reside from these areas. But right now, the land in which they were taken away from the Xhosa people, they are full of farms which are owned by the white people and all that, which is it's quite saddening on our part to say we are now living in a very small, isolated area, and this land in which our people, our fathers have fought for, has now been removed, and then there's nothing that is being done by the government to address it.
So a lot of work still needs to be done. Thank you so much for your insights, and it's very insightful indeed. Jongikaya Stuurman is a descendant of David Stuurman, the king who fought so valiantly against colonial powers years ago. Leanne, I have learned so much, and I'm sure you have as well. It's been a privilege and a great honor to broadcast live from this particular place. We're waiting for the unveiling of the next 50, up to 400 of these statues will eventually be erected here. So perhaps that's a broadcast for another day. But from us, it's Shap Shap. Hey, tada.